Sir? Sir, are you listening to me, sir? Sir, I'm talking to you. Sir.
That's
Hello, we are looking for the nuclear vessels in Alameda. Could you tell me where...
freedom, he says. The decision is in my hands, he says. Where's my frickin' butt slider then?
Hey,
The
hey,
decision
hey. Okay, I have coffee. Coffee has been collected. If you guys want to come play. If you guys want to come play. I'll be creating the lobby. The lobby. There we go. Hello. How are we this morning? Oh, I see the Heckerinos is on. Hecker Peckerinos. Hello, Heckers. Oh, hello.
Hi.
Hi. I'm so excited to play this right now. Steve's still in bed. I'm like, are you gonna play? He's like, I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. But I have coffee.
Excellent. I have a yoo-hoo.
Do you have a yoo-hoo? I love it.
Yep.
I fucking love it. Uh-oh, Ree's looking at her condo. Does this mean we have to come in and crash the condo, Ree? Where is she? She's not gonna be online. Ree, I must see your condo. Oh my gosh, what do I look like still? That's right. It's been so long. I forgot what my character looked like.
Wow. Yeah, just the menu looks entirely different.
Y'all, I've been doing a good job. Oh my gosh. Oh, I forgot I had the octopus hat. We have our disguise on. Oh, we have the milestones. We have the golf bag. I forgot about that.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh. They had wearable clocks from Halloween 2020. They're big old pumpkin clocks. Oh my goodness.
Oh my god.
That's so good. Oh yeah, then my mac and cheese. I need my mac and cheese. Oh. I swear, the Elgato ring light mount is terrible. It just almost tried to fall. It's so bad.
Oh no.
Okay. I got my mac and cheese ready.
Excellent.
It's open. Okay. Oh, there it is. Player condos. Custom image warning. Condos may
my God.
contain custom content that may not be suitable for all ages. All canvas content has been blocked until you trust this player. I don't trust this player.
God, you can download a bunch of stuff from the workshop too.
Yeah,
This
they
is
have a ton of
crazy.
stuff. Ah, yes, the skull on the counter. Very peak. Their little cauldron in the corner. The candy.
Excellent.
Oh, that's right. Oh, let me. Okay. I heard Sunshine Day. It's been so long.
Ooh, fish tank. Pending a canvas approval. Oh.
That's so weird.
Oh my god. This is very backwards looking. What the fuck?
Ree is the tiny duck. Yes, that is Ree. What do I? Oh.
Why do I have a pool noodle?
Oh my God, you're a Bob. That's right. I forgot you were Bob.
It's been so long, I've completely forgotten everything.
I got my macaroni. I forgot that Ree was small.
Small appearance.
She's a
Oh
duck.
my
She's
God.
a duck inside a duck. Oh my God, the little bubble machine. Might have to rejoin to see the images. Okay, hold on a second. Let me leave. I can still hear the bubble machine going off.
Hi.
I am AFK.
No. File. Sprays. Games.
Friends. This is definitely meant for VR now. You can tell by how they've changed around stuff.
There we go.
Excuse me. I added some wall decorations. Oh my God.
Right.
You want to see my new wall decorations? We need to get the mop.
Too loud, right away.
Oh
Driving
my
too fast,
God.
jail.
We need to get the mop.
Slow, jail. You're charging too high prices for sweaters, glasses. You right to jail.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I hate this. It is revolting.
Here we go. Lifting off.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, I forgot she was right there. Are the images down here? Or were they?
Hey.
Canvas failed to load, but I saw the picture. I saw the screenshot that she had.
Oh yeah.
my gosh, where is all my? There it is.
Oh my god.
That's right. I'm like, I can't even see her. Ow! I just like the fact that the goose is basically holding the pool noodle. Or the duck's basically holding the pool noodle as like a telephone.
Oh.
It's just strapped to your head. Or like it's almost like your glasses were holding on to it for a little while.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I ate my ring pop. All right, we want to go try and play some games. Oh my god, the emote.
Sure.
Yes. It's been so long. Okay. Let me disconnect from there. And I think it was... Actually, we can go to the plaza. West 2 is popping off. Ooh. Oh my gosh. That scared me. Jump scare. Well, 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 we meet again. The train. Anniversary celebrations. Seems like we've come back here at the proper time. Oh my gosh, there's cutscenes now.
Oh god.
Is there somebody doing... Oh yeah. It like is a tutorial for people that are coming that are new. Plaza is the center of Tower Unite where you can take part in activities, play games, or just hang around with friends. To the east and west of the tower, you can visit the stores and unlock items for your home and appearance using the units. I haven't been here since they revamped all this stuff. So again, it's been almost 2 years. You can purchase items by approaching shopkeepers in each store and press E. You can also approach an item on display and purchase it the same way. You can earn units by playing games and activities within Tower Unite. Finally, the arcade is another activity in the plaza where you can play lots of different arcade machines to earn tickets, which are used to buy fun prizes. Now it's time to begin your adventure. Oh, I see Ree. I see you. I see you. Let me... Is there a way to invite to party or no? We are already friends. I mean, we can't do parties right now. I don't know. See that Heckarinos is still in the condo hub.
No, I just loaded into the plaza.
Nice.
There we go. Confetti.
Ah! She's lighting it up. Oh, they
my
actually
God.
have a little map now too.
Oh, there's a schedule over here.
Hondo Hub.
July 31st. Fall race weekend, 1.5x units.
That's right. I want to get the supporter pack. And I get paid today.
Huh.
Oh, I think this is in streamer mode. That's why. Hold on. So I can't see your outfit. Checkers.
Oh, yeah, this is, it's Zenyatta. It's a Steam thing. Let's see. I
Oh
don't
my
know,
gosh.
again. Appearance. Here we go. We'll go back to
It's a
bottom.
maid cafe.
Made for what?
They have little snacks, little pet supplies. You can buy cat condos, dog houses, litter boxes, pet beds.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh, there we go. Now I see Bab.
Yeah.
Onigiri Neko. Take my units. Take my units.
There's an upstairs. Oh my god, there's cats upstairs.
Oh no. I'm coming with my little cat Pacino.
You can adopt them.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Hold please. Pose, because I'm sending this to Jade right now. Ree, you gotta try and stand on something. There you go.
Emote. Pose. Thinker.
It's so good. Okay. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna post this in there. I'm sending it to her now.
Oh yeah, I see it in general.
That's so freaking cute. Odie? His name's Odie? Princess? Buddy?
Buddy.
Snowman? Who's that lovely little gentleman up there?
Mocha. And Speedy.
Oh my gosh. Have my little cat Pacino. You just sit.
Ah, Ree's huge.
Oh my god!
Eh.
she's glitching through the chair. What Dark Yoda just posted. So very pink. Listen, I can adopt all of you right now. Right now. The little cup is so cute. Did we see Mabel? Look at Mabel sleeping.
Oh yeah.
With them little Pete's out. Them little Pete's. As I'm just ignoring my cat behind me. Oh, it laid down? This is Lady now.
Oh my God.
Somebody might have did somebody adopt? Because now it's Lady.
Oh, this one is Snowman. I guess it like refreshes every once in a while.
That's so cute.
Yeah, because Speedy's gone.
That's so cute. Okay, before I get too distracted by cats. Because it will happen. Oh, they have the little... I wonder if these are actual pictures of, I guess, the unicorn. There's a unicorn. I wonder if they did drawings of their actual, like, the devs' cats or not.
Oh, I have no idea.
Here comes Mini Ree. Then watch Reset. Oh, no, you're still small. I can't see you over the table.
What is this?
I can't see you over the table. That's so funny. Okay. Gelatins.
No dealer.
Do you want a macaroon? You hungry? Are you hungry? Do you want a macaroon? You want a tart? You want this one? Oh, an event. The cats adore the teleporters. What? Have you been to the casino? Not too often. What's my favorite drink? A white mocha frap. No, there aren't any dogs here. You can adopt dogs in the park by the statue garden, though. There's puppies.
Oh.
Our cats love an automatic condo vacuum if you have one. I do. Here, I'm gonna buy 5 macaroons. Where'd we go? Should go to the park. And there's fishing too, by the way. They added in fishing. Or
Yeah,
they've expanded on fishing.
Oh, expanded it. Okay. Yeah, I remember fishing a little bit.
I think Ree has her fishing pole out. I think that's what that is. It is it. It's so small.
Yeah. 7. There we go.
Let me see.
Wait, what is 6?
6, 7. Is it under food? I cannot find the macaroons I bought. Maybe I ate them all. Sir.
You must have snow.
That'll kill Ree.
Oh my god.
Oh, where'd she go? She disappeared! I threw a
I think it
snowball and she
actually did go.
exploded!
Oh god. You killed Ree.
me see. There's the beach.
Ooh.
Where's the beach? There's a, because you can fast travel from here now too.
Oh, nice. My God, there's so much you could buy. Retro computers, old school TVs.
Oh yeah. The jetpack cassette tapes. Oh, because they have their soundtrack too. I wonder if that's their music.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Hello.
Got the Matrix numbers going.
You can set up your own version of Clue.
Oh, yeah.
The CRT TV. The pool cue rack.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Huh.
Oh
And
my
yet no
goodness.
pool table.
There's, if you come talk to this little thing, you can see so much
Oh.
more. They have more
Western.
jetpacks.
You can have an outhouse.
A super powered jetpack. What is that?
It's probably just more powerful. Jetpack.
Oh my gosh, you can make your own like bowling alley too. They have bowling benches, seats, tables, a cryo casket. Oh, they have. Ree, you need the electric chair. They have the phone booths. They've added so much to this. Weird and old lights.
Unique finds.
3.5 floppy.
Nice.
Bleach. Everybody needs bleach.
True.
Set tapes. Washer dryer. A gramophone. Military crates. Painting trays. Rotary phones. Uh-oh. There's a service bell, Ree. T-Rex
Katana
skeleton.
display.
Right? Unique finds. There we go. Oh my god, the CRT is actually a media player too. That's amazing. Oh, we need the eye wash station. We can make our own little. In the locally sourced, you can see all the stuff that they use probably in the games and stuff too.
This furniture's really good too.
Warehouse. VCR video cassette. It's a free canvas sticker on it, so you can actually like label it. Push tone phone. OEM computer tower and speakers and mouse and monitor and keyboard.
Oh my god.
MCD as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to redo my condo at some point.
I got all the Western stuff too. Let me check out with my special jetpack. What does this one do? what's over here? Oh, more modern stuff.
Oh yeah. Instead of Adele, they're called Mel. Dude, you got a Mel.
A Schmott TV. You got Schmotties. Schmott TVs.
Noni.
Oh my gosh. What do they call these? Sousaphones.
Use a phone. Huh. I thought instead of Apple, they were gonna go like banana.
Cam. It's just called Cam. Tower OS pre-installed. Oh,
Sichon.
the oven.
Bridges. Microwave.
Microwaves. They have security. You can actually, they have like the key locks and stuff. Placeable spotlights, security cameras, a TV wall. You can make your own little security room, your own matrix room.
Oh man. Laboratory.
Oh, they have Tesla coils
Nice.
and the Jacob's ladder. That's cool. Aqua book. Instead of Apple, it's Aqua. They got a big ass CRT TV. That thing must weigh like 1,000,000 pounds.
Right? Actual
Physical media
players.
shelves. You can actually, that's pretty cool. You can buy the shelves and make your own. They have rental shelves too. You can make your own Blockbuster.
Oh.
The TVs are Noni. That's hilarious. That's a huge fucking TV.
Station. Oh my god.
We can make our own streaming room too. These lights are so bright. A sci-fi laptop complete with holographic keyboard. You can buy server racks. But can you make
my
it smell
God.
like your parents' disappointment like the old? Yeah, you probably can. In this game, absolutely.
Yeah.
The server racks.
I like that the fans category only has one fan in it.
Circulate the air around and try not to make a tornado. Appliances. Chocolate fountain.
Ooh.
Espresso machines. So this is all. Yeah. Yeah. Key card for when the battery puzzles don't cut it. Bulky tablets. Bookshelf speakers. Oh god, we get these towers in sometimes. They're so annoying to move around. Physics battery. This battery is perfectly throwable, but don't throw it in the river. And it was added during Slaughter Day Night Live release.
Oh my.
0.17. Oh, there's that CRTV.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the good old wall phone. We have safe spotlights, security cameras. We only have 2 clocks. Satellite dish, small air conditionings. That's cool. I like it. We haven't checked out the shops in a while.
Yeah.
Sweet, sweet furnishings. All the seats and stuff. Mulv, do you have a Tower Unite? You want to come join us? All the heart stuff. The Lips couch. You never heard of it? Dude, we've been playing this game for a long time now.
Almost probably a decade.
Yeah. We can make ourselves a buffet. One buffet. We'll call it Bobby's Buffet. They have the race car bed. I bet it's really fast.
Didn't this start out as like a Gmod thing?
Yeah.
If I remember right?
Yep.
And then it sort of just evolved into its own game.
Yeah, they made it its own. Elegant fire. Oh, I like that fireplace. So funny, speaking of when we were talking about House Flipper and stuff, there's been people that have been using House Flipper to recreate their rooms, to rearrange it before they actually decide to rearrange it, to see how it looks.
That's so funny.
Yeah. It's like when people use The Sims to do that too.
Yeah.
Schmott. Wicked schmott. I can make my own commercial kitchen. The old Victoria, big old desks, executive desks. If only they were just that much. Bathtubs, turlets.
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 I swear, I go to buy something and then it shows that I already own one.
The little ghost light's cute. Oh, so many plants. Gotta have the turlet paper for the turlets.
Yeah.
Oh, the pumpkin sofa and table. All the outdoor stuff too. Oh, what? There's a DIY place. It's... Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh.
Huh?
All the walls and frames so you can actually like build up your house, your condo too, to make it look a little different.
Oh yeah, I did see one of the condos that you can buy is just basically just a flat, like, foundation. Like you can just build a house.
That's so cool. And they have portals too, launcher pads, fans, so you can make probably your own like puzzles.
Transportation.
Heffelators.
Special. Stairs and ladders.
Oh, you can just completely just have your condo be a hub to be able to. There's a Game World port panel.
Oh my god.
You can create your own NPCs with custom dialogue.
Spiral stairs. A climbable rope. You can just do anything.
That's really cool. All the canvas stuff too.
Ancient brick wall.
That's so freaking cool. We lost Ree.
No.
Ree, where'd you go? I like her helmet.
Yeah.
Should you go adopt a dog? Did you go adopt a doggy? Where are the dogs? It said they're in the park. This is the little dance floor.
The game arena.
Ree, did we find the doggies? Did we find the doggies?
Plaza map. Ooh, there's a greenhouse. Shop at Seasons. Oh yeah, this is where you can get all the garden stuff.
Wait, I have to come find you. Are they on the other side, I'm assuming?
Yeah. I am
On the-
towards the southeast on the map. Yeah, up here.
Oh.
Garden.
Oh my gosh, you talked to the bird. Oh, we got an achievement.
Oh, nice.
Sunshine Day. Just went, oh my gosh, you can't even see the trees.
Oh my god.
Plants. Oh my goodness. They got greenhouse. You can make your own greenhouse. They have the doorway, roof, and walls. They have a hot tub.
Go.
Hot tub. Pergolas, paver stones. Just make my outside and then start to decorate it how I want to decorate it before I buy all my stuff.
Yeah.
Hot tub, outhouse, little monoliths. Got a, ooh, they have a wooden hot tub. Backer requested. That's really pretty. They have Christmas fences and snow. It's so pretty. So it's like something you could build in here. All the greenhouse stuff.
Oh, wow.
That's really cute. Oh, there's Ree. Hello, Ree. Oh, she's got a little buddy. Look how cute the little butterfly buddy is.
He's so small. Man, I cannot believe just how much they added to this game.
Oh, I haven't even looked at the game stuff either to decorate your like bowling balls, your golf balls, ball race stuff, accelerate.
Music store. Auto dealership?
There's sprays? You can do scoreboard backgrounds at some point too? What the heck?
Crusaders, what is this? Decorative. You can just buy cars to put in your...
Oh, it's a little
condo.
robot! It's a little robot. I like it. Okay, which game do we want to play first?
I don't know.
Or do we go check out the arcade and casino and stuff?
Yeah, I feel like the casino would be a good place to start.
Going to the casino. The sluts. You can poker. Prize wheels. Casino is filled with slot machines, card games, bingo, prize wheels, and more to gamble with the units. Oh, I could just sit in here and play bingo all day. Wheel of money. Oh yeah, let me see if I can turn that off.
Oh my god. It's Stimpy.
I'm just trying to see why I can't see other people's stuff.
Ooh, this one's got a big payout. Here. Let's go.
Yeah, I should be able to see people's workshop stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah, for some reason it's just not showing them for me. They're all blank.
Oh, there's Ren.
Everybody's
We got
see
Ren and
through.
Stimpy on the other side over here.
If only I can see them. I don't know why it's not letting me. Hold
man.
on.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's fine. I haven't even looked through all this stuff either. Oh my god, I can make vomit style rainbow instead. Yeah, workshop settings. Enables all workshop support, yeah. Play the horses. Let me clear cache. And let me see if leaving and coming back in will allow me to see it. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. Okay.
Because that's so weird. Oh, let me turn that down. Where is that at? Achievement unlock volume turned down. So I don't get jump scares again. Oh wow, you can actually like change around the look of the HUD too.
Huh.
It's like how it used to be. I mean, that's on.
Oh my god. I got triple grapes.
Triple grapes.
Gave me 900 coins.
Okay, that's not it. Let me toggle it off and on again. I don't think it's a setting that I'm missing. Yeah, let me restart completely and I'll come back in.
Okay.
Since ads are going to be playing here in a second anyway. I played for 99 hours. I'm close to that 100. 99.3 hours.
Nice.
I wonder how this feels in VR as well.
Yeah, I bet this is crazy in VR.
I need to charge my headset. Okay, let's see what their Trello's doing. What are they doing next? Next release is going to be another update for bugs. Arcade Phase 3. What does that entail? Creature whack game, baseball game, car rush game, lockpicker game, basketball hoops, ramp hole game, air hockey.
Oh my god.
The Warp Zone Arcade. You gonna play? You pop on and do stupid with us? I love you. I made you coffee. You just give me stairs. Condo IO system. Game types and mutators. Oh, there's an idea for an endless horde mode, single player / co-op game type where infected NPCs spawn until you perish. That's for Virus. Virus is always fun.
Yeah.
They're doing a theme park for Virus in development maps. Moon City for Accelerate. Planet Panic Fort. What's Planet Panic?
I think that was like something about UFOs that you fly a UFO around.
Yeah.
I don't remember the specifics though.
Horror Hill as well. Upcoming Game Worlds. Improved chat features. I like it. I just love that they're still working on this actively.
Yeah.
I was gonna check. I don't know. Steve's popping on. Cool.
Oh, triple diamond.
Let me go back in one more time. I got paid, so I got the supporter pack because I freaking love this game. So
Nice.
you downloaded it? Hell yeah! It's just a bunch of like cool stuff you can do in this game, mini games. If you can see,
And, like,
yeah, condos.
house
You can build your own
building.
stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah, they have the shooting ride. Those are always fun. Oh my gosh. No clue how it happened. Was walking, now ceiling. Stop breaking the game. We're in Discord too. If you wanted to pop in, I can drag you in. I'm gonna go back to the casino. There's laser tag. Laser tag was always fun too. Bowling,
True.
gambling. Like I'm surprised Lula doesn't play more of this. They have the nightclub now too. Get Lula in here
Oh
for the
my
casino. Dude, I still cannot see. Unless
That's
they're
so
unless they're
weird.
trying to load in. Like I still
Yeah, I
can't
was
see
gonna
this stuff.
say, Maybe it's just like an internet thing and it takes a bit.
Let me see. I think I'm still in their Discord. That's where I'm getting all the updates from. Of course I'm still in their Discord. Right? Unless that was one of the ones that that kid left. It might have been. Am I not in their Discord?
Amaze.
Oh, I hear the horsies. Oh, here's Bob. Sup?
Yeah. I got my machine. It's gonna pay out any minute.
What's up? Hello.
How are you?
Doing well. How you doing?
Not bad, not bad.
Oh, I got grapes, diamond grapes.
Yeah. If you get at least one diamond, it'll always give you something back.
Yeah, I'm surprised Lula hasn't. I don't remember if she has this or not. It's got a casino in it. She can gamble.
Yeah.
True.
She can gamble and drink at home. Save so much money. Aw. I almost got triple grapes.
Yeah. It loves to fake you out.
No, I hate it. I hate it. Okay, refound. Where did refind? Is it in the arcade re? Oh, that's right, there's trivia.
I was always terrible at the trivia.
Oh, the arcade's still so good. Yeah, let me see if I can figure this out because this is driving me crazy. Tower, unite. Can't see workshop. Skits.
Do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah, let me check this. Oh.
God, I love arcades. Oh,
Oh, there we
Typical.
go. That's probably what it is. Okay, I've found in downloads that there's the workshop stuff attempting to download, and then it just stops trying to download.
It was the first thing I
Oh.
did was download a workshop model.
Yeah, of course. So might be what the issue is. Oh, I see Heckers right there playing skee ball. I think Bree's in there too. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, she was right next to you.
There she is. Dude, I freaking love skee ball. Too hard.
Yeah.
Oh, so close to the 5,000.
Right?
Oh,
That's super fickle.
oh, I got it. I got the 5,000. Give me my tickets. Oh my gosh, I forgot all about this. The 20-sided deluxe die. This D20 can be used for Condo IO interactions too.
Oh, cool.
For 10,000 tickets. Interactive fuzzy die. Toy robot. Oh, all the plushies too. Look at a chunky baby chicken.
Oh my god.
They have a cow plushie. More ducky plushies. A poop emoji plushie. Dear, they have a hedgehog plushie. Oh my god. It's called Obnoxious Citrus Plush. I give you 2 guesses.
The annoying orange.
Yep. Untrustworthy with a knife and very annoying is the description. They have an isopod.
Look at a drum machine. Oh my god.
They have a hedgehog plushie. Look at it. Look how cute it is. Dear, you can buy cigars. You have to come play this game. For only 12,000 units, you can buy a cigar. Let me know when you're in, Molv. I haven't seen.
Oh, I'm in. I'm
Oh,
at
I see you.
the Cow wheel.
Ultimate cow wheel. They've improved on this so much. I wonder if the games up here are still the goated ones. Dragon's Treasure. Oh no, the Coin River, that's right.
There's a leaderboard too.
This used to be like the game to play.
Yeah.
Where people were just like hogging it the whole time too.
Oh my God, Plinko.
They have Kino in the casino. Oh, we're so close. Dang. I heard a sunshine day.
Yeah, I got the bonus slot on this sunlight.
Nice.
Yeah, they have a whole bunch of mini games. They have golf. They have basically what's like a horde game where you're killing zombies and stuff in a third-person view or overhead view. What was it, like race cars too, like go-karts? Yeah. Come on, go. Push them coins.
200 tickets per game.
Yeah. I just earned 800 tickets. Get it, hackers. What'd you get? What'd you get, Ree? Don't forget to redeem your tickets. Let me see if this is going to download again. Let's see. Yeah, content server is unreachable. I think that's the issue. There's pool. There's a pool hall.
Okay.
Dude, it's so quiet over here. They did a good job with the sound. What's the Starship Lounge? Oh, they got a bunch of like old machines up here. Somebody's watching something over here. You hit jackpot? Hell yeah. Planetary piano. You got Reaver. Can you reach it, Ree? There you go. She's floating as she's redeeming her tickets. Whirl a fish. Get that 50, yeah. Oh, I just missed it. Oh my goodness. Oh, it's just missing the jackpot. Right into the 3. Oh, that's way late. Oh, come on! What'd I get? What'd I get? I got bonus balls.
How dare this game tell me I'm holding too many tokens at one time? Give me more.
Oh, right in the one. I am not doing well this round. Oh, I almost bounced it in there. So funny seeing Bob play a train game.
If I could just get the timing.
Gears of Coin is fun. Oh, I can see you playing. Oh, dude, you gotta time it so weird.
Right?
F is for friends. Oh, I got a 50. I got jackpot. First try. First try. First try. First try jackpot. That's how they get you hooked in. That's how they get you hooked in. So there's the arcade, as we've seen. Let me redeem my tickets. There's also trivia in here. The casino's across the way. There's bowling. There's laser tag. There's a actual game hub too. There's a nightclub. There's a theater.
Unless my ticket's upstairs or something. Oh no. What is here? Strawberry plush flavor text. You're a stupid little baby man. That's great.
Get him, Ree. Get him. Get him, Ree. Shoot them corns. There's fishing. It's always important. Fishing's always important. Get him, Ree. Dude, your gun's so tiny too.
Okay.
Whoa. Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay.
Get him, Ree. It's so funny how small your little weapon is. Not the big horns. The crack horns. Corn of the dead.
No.
I'm gonna break my hand real quick.
Oh my god.
There's this test your strength game, and now
Let's go, Ree.
fucking do it.
Oh, I hit a burb.
Oh my god, there's no crosshair.
Yeah, there's no crosshair on at least this one too. Oh my god, that's so many tickets. That's got
Whoa,
almost 5,000 tickets.
Oh my god. What is this game?
It's the Corn of the Dead, so I think however much your score is how many tickets you get.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
You don't have to worry about redeeming them evidently. They just automatically redeemed right here.
Oh. Ooh. 70 tokens to play, no problem. I'll get more.
Oh, I'll leave really quick. That way we can play together. Bree, you want to play? Mulv, you want to play?
Sure, let me finish this game real quick.
Okay, we'll wait for our full party.
Tokens.
Oh, there's tokens in here too.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We'll wait for Ree. Ree, you want to come play?
I'm doing the bird feeder game real quick.
Oh, she's right here. She's right here. I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, hi, it's a Steve.
Oh,
No. Alright, where am I going?
downstairs towards like where the front is. There's a little shooting gallery.
Yeah.
So choose a weapon. Make sure you have tokens. Come get tokens.
I have tokens. I'll
Okay.
get more though.
I'm gonna forfeit. There we go. Everybody in? Oh, we're waiting on one. Is that Steve? Can't tell.
Yeah.
Dear, get over here. You gonna play? Don't shoot the burbs. shoot cans too. Round two. I missed those. Oh. Oh!
Something right there that's super small. Oh my god.
Yeah, you get a ton of stuff for it. Where's Steve go?
I thought I was doing pretty well.
Is that Steve? I can't tell.
Yeah, this is it.
Let me make sure that I have people's name tags on. Always display name tags. There we go. It's so funny to watch redeem her held tickets. And she's so small. Oh, we going again?
Hold on, I need my ticket. Wait.
Let's have a full party. Let's go. Don't shoot the burbs. That guy says I have zero points. The guy bugged out. Let's see if I get anything for this. Oh, I missed the cans. Oh, nice.
About the same.
I got nothing. I bugged out.
Oh no. Ooh, gunslinger achievement.
Hell yeah, sunshine day. All right, I got you, Steve.
All right. Let's see.
There you go, Steve. He's just annoyed with my shit. Oh my gosh, that's right. The dancing. She's so small. She's so small. Okay. There's trivia. There's we can go play bingo. We can go bowling. We can go do a ton of stuff. We can play the regular games too, mini golf, stuff like that. Where's the shooting ride?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, there's typing derby. I forgot about that too. You can get ready for Final Fantasy.
Typing derby?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You made a map? That's cool.
Oh my god.
Thirsty for megabyte? Give me megabytes. Look at, he's got a isopod backpack. Hello, robot checkers.
Uh,
It's the best mini golf map of all time. I'll have to try and check it out. Hopefully you're not trolling me too. That would be sad.
wait, seriously, how do you type? I hit T and enter and nothing is doing it.
Why?
Why? Ah.
Ree, where's the shooty game? You cannot leave the arcade. I don't know how to chat. What do you mean you can't leave the arcade? What do you
I
mean?
must agree to chat rules first?
We got stuck, something bugged. Oh. This person's.
I dance.
What do you mean?
Oh my goodness. Okay, let me while ads are going, I'm gonna restart my game again and see if I can get the workshop stuff working. That way everybody's not just blank for me.
Huh.
Still says it's unreachable. Starting download. Okay. Was that it? It just took like 2 seconds. Let me allow that. It should automatically download them in the background. Oh my gosh. Deep Rock is doing a space beach party thing where you can get a turtle. You can get a turtle hat. Okay, popping back in.
Buy multiple of most things in the game. Huh.
This way, hopefully, not everybody's just, you know.
You guys up for playing Accelerate? I don't know.
Okay, let me come join again.
Oh, nice. Steve is a mech.
Okay, let me come find you guys. Oh, somebody's playing real drums. Oh, there's Steve. Now I can see your stuff. Oh my gosh. Okay. You got a drink? Nice. Oh, now I see this person's skin.
Yeah, dude's like weird Godzilla.
Oh, Mole, this is completely on par for you.
Yeah, it is.
Hold on, I think I have something else too.
Unlocked an Avalon. Oh, I got glow sticks. This dude's a raver.
Did it work? Oh my gosh, Steve. Do you have a cigar in your mouth too? Oh my gosh. This is 100% Steve.
I'm
This is-
guessing this is a Dragon Quest character.
Yes, this is Steve Core right here.
You're all- Oh my god. How do you get a flamethrower?
Oh, what's Reed doing over here? Yes, dear. Is she's luring
Shooting
us
it
to the she's luring us to the game.
Oh, nice. Thanks, Reed.
Dark Voyage shooting ride.
Oh my god, it goes underground.
Yes.
I got lost. Hold on. I'm coming.
Dear.
I went back to the arcade for a moment and then I didn't no.
Come follow us, dear. Dear? Where'd he go? There he is.
Man, somebody really wants to play Typing Derby. Oh my god. Why is this giving me more?
Steve's just gonna stand on it. Dear, I can't leave. I can't leave.
Oh, it says 4 and 4 players.
I'm gonna go on the ride with Steve next.
Okay.
I got you, boo.
Shoot that guy.
I got you, Ree. Heck yeah. That's cool. Not the books! That's pretty cool. Ew, they make noises.
Oh god.
Ew.
Gross.
Gross.
Oh my god.
Ew.
Oh, I see. You gotta shoot the projectiles. It's a specific hit
Nice. The music's really good too.
Yeah.
The pants! Oh, there they come again. Oh,
Maybe we should do like an addictive rounds.
right?
That'd be pretty cool.
Oh my god, there's another spot.
Ooh, it's instant.
Okay, I gotta get Cheryl in on this game. What just happened?
Anything.
I'm confused. My favorite stream.
You just gifted a year subscription to Checkers? Chris just gifted 12 months of tier 1 sub to Checkers. How you doing, Chris? Thank you so much. And now we have a level 4 hype train from 1? Bro. Chris, thank you so much for gifting a year sub to Heckarinos. I bet you it's gonna be that one. Is it gonna be her? She looks creepy. I'm gonna keep shooting her. I'm gonna keep shooting her. Unless it's a decoy. This is a distraction.
No, she's Vigo.
It's a distraction.
Vigo. Chris, thank you so much again, dude. I appreciate it. Chris, do you have this game? Where's it gonna come from? I hear it. Ah! Dude, that's so cool the way it changed. Chris, how's the new apartment? I'm hitting something. Keep shooting that thing. Oh. Books. Pictures too. My goodness.
Just background zombies.
Ew, the eyeballs again. Chris, do you have Tower Unite? I think you do. Ew, more crispy eyeballs. Oh. Them's are teefers? That's really cool. Eyeballs. Shoot her in the teats. There's another eyeball. Another eyeball.
I knew it.
Oh, I was about to say, whoever shot that first knew that was gonna be it. Whoa. Oh wobbling now. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa now.
You're an all-star?
Hey now.
Whoa now, you're an all-star. Don't get your game on?
Hey now.
Go work.
There you go. Are there any eyeballs around? Oh, it is her! It was her!
Commander Shepard.
The whole time.
She has an eyeball, but I'm shooting it. It's doing nothing.
Oh no, the stairs? Ew, I just heard another eyeball go. It goes squish. Oh, 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 oh. Spooters! Bree, don't look! Close your eyes, Bree. We'll defend you.
Mr. Steve Harvey unlocked that.
Ew. This goes on for a while. More eyeballs. Oh, the TVs. That thing's cool looking. The little werewolf. Oh yeah, we can break the
Break everything.
Is this it?
This might be the end, my friend.
Oh my
Nope,
gosh.
there's more.
Grams.
Oh my god, 10 grams.
10 grams. I just noticed, I just looked down and see Ree. Tiny as ever. Bro, what is this place? Okay. Jade's gotta come in and play this.
Join us in death.
Dude, the music. This is so cool. The demons behind us. That was cool as heck.
This might be
This is a ride that never ends. As it goes on and on, my friends. Oh, my frames.
people started shooting and not knowing what it was.
Oh yeah, our weapons are disabled.
Don't continue shooting. Yeah, this has got to be the end.
That was really neat. Dear, are you still here? Whoa!
3,000.
That was cool.
Somebody really wants to do typing derby again. Where's Steve go?
They keep doing it.
So I have this weird tag that's showing up. That's showing, I guess, my model. How do I get rid of it?
Tag. I don't know.
I don't see a weird tag.
It's here. I'll show you.
Oh, where's Steve? Does Steve go on it by himself?
Oh, yeah, I don't see him.
I can see his name tag down here. He did.
Nice.
Good job, dear. You unlocked Doc Brown.
Point 21 gigawatts.
This cigar kills me. Cigar absolutely kills me. But playing Plaza with 4 more friends at once for 15 minutes. Look at that. We all got a party. Wow. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna use the potty really quick.
Go to my controls. It's a thing. That fixed it. Oh, nice. Yeah, I did restart. It was a UI error.
what is that model now?
That's from Battle Cats.
Oh. Certified trash, hell yeah.
My spirit animal.
I keep forgetting that they have like titles and stuff too.
Yeah, I was trying to see if I could find where that's located, but I guess it's just something that.
Oh, that's
shows
so
up once you
weird that
get one.
they have that on there. That's so strange. On that player model, I just saw your post.
Yeah, it was a UI issue. I had to restart and got it gone. Got it gone.
Oh, here, I gotta wear this for Steve.
Oh no. Oh no.
Actually, I look better with the glasses.
Oh my god. Oh, it's so good.
Oh yeah?
No. I just realized who that was.
Now I'm the Steve. Oh my god, that chocobo.
Nice.
Oh! She was gonna do it. There it is.
Ooh. Oh my god. Oh, hi.
Oh my gosh, I love the little vehicle. With the golf clubs on the back. Oh my gosh. I haven't seen what new stuff they put in here. Oh my god, they have power armor.
Oh yeah. What the fuck?
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's see. Oh my goodness. Hackers.
What? Stuck in menu, hold on. There we go. Oh my god, yes.
Now we gotta go bowling.
Yeah, for real.
What else do they have?
Let's see, browse workshop.
The noise of the little cart is Re. Oh my gosh, the Psyduck.
I am Professor Psyduck.
Oh yeah. Oh my god,
Oh
Steve.
my god. What the fuck?
Being Puppy Cat, I love it.
Puppy cat?
Yeah, he's Puppy Cat. You ever seen Bee and Puppy Cat?
I have not.
Oh man.
All I know is Cat Dog from way back in the day.
Oh yeah. No, Bee and Puppy Cat is really, really adorable. Where's my... Let me look at my stream. Oh my god, the scooter.
Rhea's Jeff.
I have my Puppy Cat squishable.
Oh, nice.
He's like, I'm your cat. Pedioni macaroni. Oh, he must have been, yeah. Let me see. Video games.
Make that one of my favorites.
Oh, I got you, dear. You ready?
That's so much fun.
I love the little scooter. Beep beep. Bro.
What the fuck?
Bro.
So terrible.
Yeah.
Or backwards.
Look at how
It's
look at
all
how
in the bite.
look at how bad the back looks. Like it's perfect.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I don't know what this is.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh.
It's called Steve Bob Hard Pants.
Where's Ree? There we go. Okay. Do we want to do some casino work? Do we want to go bowling? Do we want to do actual like games?
I have no idea, so I'm up for whatever.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Ree. Where'd Ree go? Oh my goodness, not that. Not the Among Us with the
Sucks.
glasses. That's so good.
Alright, I gotta go back to Bob.
Oh my goodness, dear, with the cigar too. He's thing with the cigar. Basically, that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And the backpack, the cigar though adds so much character. Okay, let me go back to my stuff. Oh. There you go, dear. What if they have Grommet?
Probably.
Do they have so much stuff now that people have made? Okay, where are my favorites?
There we go. There we go. I have ascended.
Oh, I saw the realistic slice of pizza, yeah. There you go, there's Steve's true look. The cigar's coming out of the middle of her eyes.
Oh god.
Okay, let's see.
Well, that was that was graphic.
Slaughter Night Live. What is this? Is this like an arcade shooter? Arena shooter? How many players? Okay, we can do up to 6 players on Zombie Massacre. So let me... I can't hear you, dear. I know that there is a way to create your own lobby. Is everybody here? Where'd Steve go? Oh my goodness. Steve!
Where'd you guys go?
Oh, we're inside this building.
Not
that
the
was-
horses! Okay, come on. You can go bet on yourself in the casino.
Yeah.
Did he make it in here? Where's Hackers?
It says I'm loading.
I've been in the queue.
There we go.
Boy.
Wait, what?
Oh
Where
my,
did it
that's the
go?
one I was looking at too. Where's Hackers?
It's. It asked me if I wanted to join the queue. I thought that's what you guys were doing, and it took me to a different place entirely.
Oh. You should be able to join us though. They have a
join.
Plants vs. Zombies one? They have so many new ones.
Oh, sweet.
Last stand at Taco Bell.
America's #1 Mexican food restaurant.
There's so many new spots.
Oh my god.
Hackerino says, enter the plaza.
For
You should be
some
able to join
reason-
us if you go over to the Zombie Massacre area. It should say that we're in a queue.
I don't know why it sent me to an entirely.
Oh, do I need to get out of here? Because it says I need to. I guess I'm by myself.
No, no, no. You're the host,
No.
dear.
We are joining you.
So you should be able to
Yeah.
find Steve.
Here we go.
Who am I usually?
Wait, this
I'm
is.
gonna go with scientist.
Scientist is good. I'm gonna go with the journalist. Or I'll go with the doctor. Doctor's always good to have. Then you should be able to join us, Checkers.
I had joined. I got into a server. But I don't see
We have to defend the Taco Bell at all costs.
that. Oh my god.
Yes, I got the guitar! I got them Uzis. Double barrel. Good, Hackers is in here. The sound is so loud, I got turned down a little bit. There we go. I got healing down if anybody needs it.
Come to me.
Combos do matter to get your abilities too. If anybody needs combos. Zombie. I hear it. Oh, right here. Got it. That is so loud. Turn on the weapon volume.
Upgrade.
I'm gonna unlock that more and then damage multiplier. Dude, the mix of music is cracking me up too. Oh, not the fiery guys. Oh no. Collect the triple chalupa stash. I got you, Ree. Got the fiery dude. Thank you. Oh, double Uzis. Like on Primo. I think you respawn after a little bit. There we go, we got the check her spec too. Heck yeah. Oh, look, I was in the circle. It just didn't pick me up. Oh crap. She was AFK right now.
I have a ridiculous turn.
Yeah, I upgraded my healing level kit. We gotta keep an eye on Steve. I think he just ran back into the room though. Sorry, I grabbed it. Oh, crossbow. I'm surrounded. Oh, I got a laser rifle. Oh, Steve's a zombie. Shoot, Steve. Hey, I got health, man. Okay, we're full health. Get some health. Shoot hackers! Shoot hackers! Shoot hackers! Where's the wolf? I gotta beat him over the head with a baseball bat. Steve's one too. There's one stuck. There he is. He's right here. Got him. That's probably my favorite game mode in this.
Upgrade, upgrade. I got healing down just in case. Oh, we gotta get the chalupa stash. Is it bugged? Let me get out. It might be bugged.
getting points. I got you, dear. No, I died. Oh, it's working now. Oh, I got the minigun. Got healing down. There's one more. Where is it stuck? Oh, we're good. We're good.
Nice.
I know I can't hit the. I know it's good music too. Get another life. Start off with an Uzi. It's me, the Uzi.
I immediately died.
Crazy. Coming. I'll be your hero. I got Ree. I got you guys. It's healing down too. Poor Steve. How you doing, dear? Oh, you finished the objective. Nice. Not the pumpkin dudes. Healing down. Hey, Steve, he's a zombie. Back up. Oh, he's stuck in the toilet. There's one left. Oh, I hear him to the right. Nice. Nice job. I don't know what the boss is gonna be.
Oh yeah, the boss.
probably put giant garlic or maybe some cabbage. Parasite fucking
Right?
mobs.
God.
It's a T-Rex with weapons.
T-Rex with
The teeth. Ouch, 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 ouch. I died. I got you. You're a good distraction. Oh, board the helicopter.
Barely
There we go. Oh, and we're going to the ground.
Yeah.
It's pretty something.
Jurassic Chomp.
Nice. Pac-Man? I'm down for Pac-Man.
Sure.
Somebody did Black Ops 1. Midwest Mayhem, and it's just traffic. Waiting to start.
AFK.
It's loading in the map. Love how even though we're in the same house, I still have 17 ping. Do you want to be the doctor? Okay.
I like my Tory.
I can be doctor. Pellets left to unlock gate. Gates will lower when escape is ready.
Oh my god, we have to collect the pellets. That's so cool.
Oh my gosh.
They're not even fully loaded for me.
Yeah,
Me either.
it took me a while. Can I not? There we go.
This is amazing.
Oh god. Oh my god, there's so many of them.
Oh my god, they're all over hackers.
Okay. Point.
Okay, I got the ones down here.
Is there a gate we gotta get to now?
In 44
Let's go back.
seconds, it should unlock the same gate.
We collected 244 out of 50,000.
I do have some healing near the where we need to go. Oh my god, the Egon! The Egon!
Nice.
Escape! Oh my goodness. Look at the chopper.
Nice.
That's amazing.
Yum. That was it? Oh.
This is the first level, yeah.
Next stage.
I'm gonna go with movement for the first one. If we're collecting dots, being on the move is impotent.
Yeah. I'm not gonna put any points in my turret then.
I'll keep my healing kit done.
The drone for the mercenary is pretty strong for those two.
Waka 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 waka.
This big. Oh. Hold on. Hold on.
I'll have healing in just a second.
Oh, my game crashed.
No.
It's not supposed to do that.
Yeah. What the?
What the heck? How you doing, dear?
Surviving.
Oh, Mova's back.
I'm back.
Hey.
Oh shit!
There you go. Healing down. Got 15 seconds. Start making our way towards the top.
This is a terrible
Escape!
Oh, you don't really get that many points, do you?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it probably would have helped if I, didn't disconnect and lose.
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
Oh, I didn't get very many either. I mean, I was getting like 6,000 last game. This is only 4,000. Warning. incoming raid. Why? What? I'm stuck in a weird wheel? Hello? Am I moving at all? No. Oh, of course I just died then. So that was a bug.
Maybe.
No, I couldn't even see myself.
Is that working now?
Yeah, it's working now because I died.
Yeah. you just needed a forever reset, that's all.
Yeah.
There's also zombies that we get hit by that we're not seeing on the screen. They're stuck in like the other spots.
There's a couple that look like they phased through the floor.
Yeah. I'm coming, dear. I can be your hero. Lace horse, the lace horse. Yeah, we're near the entrance again. Nice.
Alright, 5,000 about that.
28 days later, nice. Okay, let's see what we get.
When we're done with this, we need to eat, darling.
Okay. That was
Otherwise, we'll
fast.
just sit there all day.
Oh wow, yeah, it's 5 p.m. already. God damn.
Yeah, we're gonna play for like 3 hours.
Waka 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 waka.
Oh, chainsaw. Oh, I am getting a little low. Let's pop this down right here. These guys. I got you, hackers.
Oh no, too late.
Healing is down. I am dead.
I am dead and a zombie.
Oh, kill Steve!
Working on it.
Steve is now back.
Oh, I'm coming down here.
Oh, damn, we got a lot of.
I got surrounded and covered by it.
There's so many.
Hit me, hit me! Hit Steve! They're back!
The zombie again.
Here comes hackers. Got him. There's still healing down and stuff here too. Escape! Bob!
I'm coming.
Get your ass over here!
I weigh like 5 tons.
I was gonna max out the healing. Oh my gosh. Rob got a case of the Pal World card game.
Yup. Yes, he did.
Jesus.
And he got it when it was cheap too. It's gotten expensive.
Yeah. This is a really cool map though. Day 5.
Same map over and over.
Yeah.
I mean, what else do you expect?
The first map was the same map over and over again.
My combo, thank you. Oh, who's down? It's gotta be Ree. I'm coming, Ree.
Oh, I'm down.
Get my sword. Healing's down. Oh, I need my combo. I need my combo. There we go.
Those exploding ones really good.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they really do.
Ree got an achievement. Oh my goodness.
Melee weapons in the game suck.
Yeah, they really do.
I got somebody. Oh, Steve. They're on Steve.
No. Get to this copy.
Get to the chopper. Nice. Another day.
This one should be the boss, right?
Give myself more health and damage. Yeah, I think it's 6 days. Yeah. Is it gonna be a big ghost?
God, I hope so.
Please be a big ghost. No! Ree, don't look!
What's up, bud?
I got you, Ree!
Oh my God, they're spitting acid.
This is like the original first boss.
What am I getting hit by? Okay, I just died from nothing.
Oh, it's probably one of the ones that are glitching in the floor. I can see him most of the time just because of my power that I have. Actually shows when I'm hitting stuff.
Now I'm a zombie. We will survive. There's something in the floor killing me again. It's so stupid that I can't see what's killing me.
I guess sometimes her ability to kind of reaches out. Got healing down.
Yep, got me. Wait, is she there in front of us? Wait, can I not see the boss?
Maybe that's what you're getting hit by.
The boss is invisible. That makes sense because there's a spot where I couldn't move forward.
I think that was her, yeah.
Running, I can't see the boss. Yeah, the light bar's not even showing up to me.
Where are these zombies at? There's one more left. Where's that stupid bitch? Where is it?
Where is it?
Nice. Hercules. Good job.
Nice.
That was fun.
They got a survivor bat.
Ooh.
Molf has unlocked arachnophobia.
Yay. Alright, I gotta bail because I got some food and then take care of some important stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was fun.
Food sounds good.
Yeah.
Yes, dear. Put on taking a break.
I'm taking a break. I mean, I could stop stream because I have a raid I'm gonna do in a couple hours. So
Check y'all later.
bye. Thanks for playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. Wee.
I know I missed this game. Yes. Fried chicken. Steve's back to his old self again. Yeah, we'll have to play more of this later on. I miss this game a lot.
Definitely.
This game's so much fun.
Huh.
All right. I will harass you guys later.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Alrighty, guys. I'm gonna head on out. I want to play more of this too. I don't know if I'll be back live again today. Tomorrow we're supposed to be doing some Final Fantasy MSQ, so we'll see what's going on. But in the meantime, let me send you guys on over to somebody. See who's live. I'll send you guys on over to Auntie. She's playing some Dead by Daylight. Some Toxic Simulator right here. Go say hi. Go have fun with her. And yes, there's so many other games that I want to play in this too, but I'm glad we got in some Zombie Massacre. There's mini golf, there's Virus. Virus is always fun too if we get a ton of people as well. So go say hi to Auntie, and I will be on again tomorrow.